Hey Keith, so sometimes the subject of end times could be overwhelming. So let's do a quick series on just what we'll separate the events. So let's start with before the Antichrist. What should we expect? The signs.
Well, the Bible says that the tribulation, the testing, is going to get progressively worse, more intense. The Bible doesn't tell us specifically about much of anything before that final 7 years. It mainly focuses on what happens during that last seven. But we know there's going to be wars, rumors of wars. There's going to be pestilence, which is what we see with COVID and these other things that are floating around the world. And mainly, it's mankind making bad choices. You know, if you're playing with fire, you're going to get burnt eventually. And so, wars, rumors of wars, pestilence, disease, famine, all those things are ramping up now, and we can see that. You got to be blind to not understand that things are getting worse, and unfortunately, many times it's because people are doing it to themselves.
So what about Israel? What's going to happen in Israel? The temple? Or what?
Well, the Bible talks about Israel being isolated. People will not be supporting Israel because Israel is being vilified. You know, they're the bad guys. They're the evil ones. You know, those nasty Jews are the reason why we have so much trouble in the world. So there's a lot of anti-Semitic behavior, and Israel gets isolated. But the Bible does tell us there's going to be a covenant of some kind. We don't know if it's a peace treaty or a financial agreement. Could be a lot of things. Could be a protection. You know, Israel has done things over the years. We see it all throughout the Old Testament where they go out and they make alliances with other countries to protect them. They made an alliance with Egypt, and they made an alliance with Assyria, and they made an alliance with Nebuchadnezzar in Babylon to protect them. It's like, oh, protect us. We'll give you money if you watch over us. And it could be something like that, where they go in and they sign a covenant with Russia for Russia to be their enforcer. We don't know, but the Bible says there's going to be a covenant. It's going to last 7 years. We don't know if it's going to be a 7-year deal or whether it's a longer deal. But the Bible says they sign that, and because they are able to get that covenant signed with many, and we don't know if that's the United Nations or if that's somebody else, could be the Arab League, could be UN, could be with the Islamic nations. You know, there's all kinds of groups that could qualify there. But once that is signed, then Israel feels comfortable. And because they feel comfortable, and maybe they feel like the temple's not going to be destroyed, that's when they start the construction and they start the altar sacrifices. The Bible says the daily sacrifices that Israel has been commanded to make, morning and evening, 9 a.m. and 3 p.m. every day, they are commanded to sacrifice an animal on the altar. That's going to start. That's not going to wait until the Antichrist. That's going to be through most of the 7 years. The Bible says those sacrifices stop at the 3.5-year point when the abomination of desolation occurs. So we'll know when it stops, but the Bible tells us that's going to last 1,150 days, literal days. But we just don't know when it's going to start. But that's our clue, is when those sacrifices start in Israel, the morning and evening, and they start rebuilding the temple, you know we are in the last 7 years.
So quick recap of wars and rumors of war, pestilence, the building of the temple, sacrifices of the temple, and
Sacrifices
the peace
start,
treaty.
some kind of a covenant.
Okay.
We won't know if the covenant gets announced. It might be signed behind closed doors. It might be some clandestine deal with leaders, and we don't find out about it until later. But we will know that it's been done when they start the sacrifices. And that's where I'm excited to see what happens this fall when Benjamin Netanyahu comes back in, because that might be a bargaining chip. He could say, listen, let's make an alliance with these groups, and if we can get that alliance together, then I'll let people back on the Temple Mount and they can start the sacrifices. And we don't know for sure, but those are signs that we should be looking for.